welcome back to Chapter Day. Happy Friday. Woo, we've made it safely through another week. Yay. Well, today we'll be reading 1 Chronicles chapter 10. We covered yesterday the Levites, who they were and what their duties were. They were from the tribe of Levi, and they also had the sons of Aaron who were to officiate as priests. So that was their main job. They were not supposed to do any other work. And they were not given an inheritance either by God, because God had told the children of Israel to take care of the priests. And I think that is an example for us today. We are supposed to take care of the religious leaders in our denominations. Okay. So let's move on to chapter 10 and see what takes place. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, as usual, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa. And the Philistines followed hard after Saul and after his sons, and the Philistines slew Jonathan and Abinadab and Malchishua, the sons of Saul. We heard their names mentioned before, as well as they are giving us a recount of what happened prior. This is not now happening. This is telling us of what happened back in the chapters before. And the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was wounded of the archers. Then said Saul to his armor-bearer, "Draw thy sword and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and abuse me." But his armor-bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. So Saul took a sword and fell upon it. And when his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise on the sword and died. And we read about that before, how Saul hadn't, he kind of finished off himself, okay? Verse 6, so Saul died, and his 3 sons and all his house died together. And when all the men of Israel that were in the valley saw that, they fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead. Then they forsook their cities and fled, and the Philistines came and dwelt in them. Wow. And it came to pass on the morrow, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, that they found Saul and his sons fallen in Mount Gilboa. And when they had stripped him, they took his head and his armor, and sent into the land of the Philistines round about, to carry tidings unto their idols and to the people. And they put his armor in the house of their gods, and fastened his head in the temple of Dagon. And when all Jabesh Gilead heard all that the Philistines had done to Saul, they arose all the valiant men, and took away the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons, and brought them to Jabesh, and buried their bones under the oak in Jabesh, and fasted 7 days. So there were men who, after the Philistines had decapitated Saul and taken away his body and the body of his sons, they went and they stole the bodies, or took the bodies off from where the Philistines had put them, and took it back and buried them. Verse 13, so Saul died for his transgression, which he committed against the Lord, even against the word of the Lord, which he kept not, and also for asking counsel of one that had a familiar spirit to inquire of it, and inquired not of the Lord. Therefore he slew him, and turned the kingdom unto David, the son of Jesse. So this was just a total recap of what took place with Saul. Remember, Saul was straying from God when they had attacked a particular city, and Samuel told him that he was not supposed to keep anything. God had instructed them, keep nothing, man, woman, child, sheep, cattle, nothing was supposed to be kept. And then Samuel heard the bleating of the sheep, and he asked Saul, "What have you done?" And Saul started to say the people said they wanted to make a sacrifice to their God. He wasn't even calling God his God anymore. So, and in addition, as we heard, went to ask a witch about his fate, what was going to take place. So Satan already knew Saul's fate, because he was allowed to take charge of Saul now. Saul had turned away from God, and we don't understand that's what happens with us. If we turn away from God, there's only one alternative. It's people who think, I'm just sitting here on the fence. There's no fence. Okay? But Saul was killed and David inherited the kingdom from God. And that's it for 1 Chronicles chapter 10. It was just a recount of Saul and his death and by the Philistines. And that is the end of our reading for today. Very short, to the point, just a recap. Okay, so once again, thank you all for listening. And until our next reading, keep on, because that's how faith will come, by hearing. Take care. Bye.